Welcome to Speed and Color, a podcast and YouTube channel about custom motorcycle culture. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to get all the latest content. You can also follow Speed and Color on Instagram. We hope you enjoy the show.
I'm here to tell you, this aluminum extrusion, in this case 80/20, but whatever brand you're using, this stuff is the bomb. Boy, this makes this easy. I'm pretty much finished this side, and I thought I'd show it to you, just see how I'm working with this stuff, and I'll explain a few things that I have to do now. So, what I did, the bed at the back is 6 feet lengthwise in the van. That's one side of it. I'll be building a frame structure very similar to that on the passenger side, but of course it's not going to have those two big sections on the right-hand side behind the driver's seat, because we need to keep this doorway open. So we won't have those, but the bed will be 6 feet. The center of the bed, 24 inches between the two sections, the two side sections, is going to be the ramp for loading the motorcycle. And of course, when you use the ramp, that clears the center of the floor. 24 inches, I've measured the Yamaha, I've measured the Sportster. That's enough width to get either of them in. I shouldn't say both of them in, but either of them in. So that's my plan there. That's why I have that frame like that. So the bed comes along for 6 feet. Then you see that it kicks up, and I don't have all the pieces in. I'm short a couple pieces because I don't have any corners left to put everything together. I had to order more of those today. But there's a kick up there, comes up to 27 inches high, and that is, I think the refrigerator is going to be on the left-hand side. The subwoofer and amps are on the right-hand side. And it will be sort of a countertop there. The 6x9 speakers, or maybe those are 6x9s? Something like that. The 6x9s are one is gonna sit up on that raised area, or in this case, right above the fridge. One will sit on that side, and on the end of the bed on this side, I'm going to make a cabinet the same height, but probably only about 8 inches wide. So it will come into the doorway a little bit, but it's not going to impede, getting in there or anything. It's not going to get in the way. Might actually come in handy with a handle on it or something like that for getting in the back. So that's what I'm doing there with that kick up. For the subwoofer, I'm going to make a grill for the front and for the top. Imagine, if you will, 1-inch aluminum slats, so probably 1/8 inch thick, on their edge, vertical, about 1 inch or 1.5 inches apart. The reason I'm doing that is I want something to protect it so that something doesn't fall against it and go into the subwoofer. But I also don't want to impede the sound from the subwoofer. So I'm thinking slats. If I do it out of aluminum, I can either paint it or polish it or maybe have it anodized. I'll see what I want to do. And it will fit inside the rectangle of the framework there. So if you look in the top right corner, there's a bracket there. That bracket can't be there because that cover that I'm going to make, or that grill that I'm going to make, has to slide into that whole area. Now, when I say that, that's one option. The other option is that I could use those brackets in all 4 corners and then actually attach the grill to the corner brackets on the face. Problem with that is it adds another inch or inch and a half or inch and an eighth, whatever, to the cabinet and cuts into the space for the motorcycle. It's tight, it's nip and tuck. It's gonna, it's enough room, but I don't want to start cutting into it with different things. So I'll have to see how I'm going to do that grill. I'm going to do the same kind of grill on the top as well, for airflow, because the amps make a fair amount of heat, and I want this all to stay cool. I don't need the top of that section. There's nothing I need to put on there. I'm not going to build it up any higher or anything like that. So if I put that same slat type grill, it'll be kind of cool. You'll be able to see the amps, or one of them anyway. And, it'll just make a nice aesthetic. Then my plan too is to put strip LED, or LED strips of lights in there, probably blue, to light up that section so that when the sound system is on, that's all lit up. It'll look kind of cool coming through the grill, and it'll light up the subwoofer and just give it some Boogie Van-esque. So that's what I'm going to do there. The section with the fridge, those will be probably upholstered panels or a door on the front and a panel on the top, something like that. Fairly easy to get off to access the fridge. That's kind of my plan on there, but again, I want to keep it within the cabinetry itself, within that frame, so that I don't add more width to the cabinet. On the bed, I'm undecided yet. I have to do a little research. I don't know if I'm going to go with 3/4 ply or 5/8. It's not a large span, and I am going to put a couple more pieces across for weight bearing, and one more support on the face of it here on this side, one more in the center. So I don't know if I need to go 3/4, but I'm going to check with some people and see what other van builders do and find out. Other than that, it's going to be cool because all the wiring's going to tuck in behind the subwoofer there. That's all going to be good. The speakers will be up towards the front here. The sound's fantastic. It's going to be great. And that'll all work out pretty well. I should tell you too, what I'm going to do on the subwoofer is I'm going to put a plywood floor under the subwoofer in the framing. And then I'm going to bolt the subwoofer to that piece of plywood. I'll show you in a second how I'm going to do that. I think you'll like it. And that's going to lock the subwoofer down so that, God forbid, if you're ever in a bit of an accident or something like that, the subwoofer and amps aren't going to be flying all over in the back. They'll be anchored down properly. That's where I'm at with that side. I'll show you the back corner, and I'll show you some of the connectors I'm using, because I've learned quite a bit about the connectors, and that's kind of, I wanted to assemble this. Now I'm going to take it out, do the wiring, do that floor for the subwoofer, all that stuff. Then I'll put it together one more time. I should tell you too, if you look at the floor in that left-hand cabinet where the refrigerator is going to be, there are 2 holes back there. Remember I said that this had captain's chairs? Well, right under the frame, out at the front, there are 2 more of those holes. I'm going to use those as anchor points. I'm going to run a strap of aluminum underneath, which will disperse the load, but I can use those 2, get a couple really good bolts in there, which is going to anchor that down really well. I'm going to have to drill a couple other holes too. I can't mount it just with those 2 spots, but I figured, seeing how those holes were already in the floor, I might as well use them to attach something. The other thing that I'm trying to figure out, and it's, I don't know, it's a little bit tough. is the sound deadening. I haven't done anything with the floor yet. Now, if this was going to be a boogie van with a plywood floor with a flooring material on it, well, okay, you'd have some options. In this case, though, especially for loading the motorcycle, I don't really want to put extra flooring in it. For one thing, this is plenty durable, tough, it'll work great. The other thing is, if you put a plywood floor on top of that, now you're losing, I don't know, another half inch or inch of height, which height's an issue here. I know that about these boogie vans. This isn't one of your new fancy Sprinter or Transit builds with a high roof and everything. This is very much a boogie van, a place to crash for the night, keep some of your stuff, and yeah, you're hunched over all the time. It's killing my back, but it's okay. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And then, yeah, looking over at the left at the back of the cabinet there is a piece to go in there to support that. Like I said, I ran out of corner pieces, so I can't put any more pieces in there. All right, so sound deadening for the floor. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can get a rubber mat, like a truck box floor liner type mat, something like that. The other part of what I didn't want to do is, if you look at the way I built the bed, and I'm going to leave the face under the bed open. I'm not going to finish that off. Reason being, I want to have nice, easy access in there for storing stuff. So at the back, you've got a nice opening with the door open. You can slide stuff in. Thinking about our 10x10 pop-up in its bag on wheels. It'll just roll right down that side, which is really, really good. There's all kinds of other stuff you take with you, you load in, and I certainly don't want to put the sound deadening material on the floor, because it'll just get all beat to crap, and taking it out is a nightmare. So that's not the way to go, but I think maybe a rubber mat will work pretty well there. I'll have to see what's available and see what I'm going to do. Let me set the camera up at the back here, and I want to show you some of the fasteners and the corners and how I'm building the back corner of this. Getting back to the plywood underneath the subwoofer. So, of course, 80/20 or T-slot, whatever you want to call it, has these slots down the side. Now, I don't know what those are. I'm going to guess they're give or take 3/8 of an inch. So I think what I can do, you have to kind of imagine this. If you have this put together in a square or rectangle, and, let me show you like that, square or rectangle, then you would have this groove all the way around. If you take one side off, you should be able to slide a piece of plywood in there, then put that end back on, and then you would have a plywood floor that sits in the aluminum extrusion. Doing that is, I think it's a good idea. The problem is, and you can see there's two different, you saw the corner connectors when I was showing you from the other angle, and how they make a triangle in the corner. So they block part of that slot, because that's what they attach into, if you put them on that inside corner. The other corner brackets so the ones that are little triangles, those are third party. I don't know who they come from. They come from Amazon.ca. They're actually metric ones, but they work in Series 15 80/20. The 80/20 ones are little angle brackets. So they're actually a piece of angle aluminum. Really, really nice. probably a better piece, but really, really expensive too. So that's why I ordered up those others from Amazon, because for the number you need to do this, they get pretty cost effective. So when you do something like the floor, you have to make sure that the cabinet is put together without any corner pieces. Doesn't matter what you're using. As soon as you put a quarter piece in, you're going to have to cut your plywood to go around it, and I don't want to do that. One of the fastening techniques that I use that I showed you in another video here is to tap the hole in the center of the extrusion, and that's how this one's done. So the hole inside there is tapped with a 5/16 national course, and I put that in, drilled holes in the bottom rail, and put a 5/16 socket head bolt up through there. Super strong. Man, you tighten that bad boy down, and this is really locked in. It's really, really good. Disadvantages to that, for one thing, if you do it like this, you're not getting it out with this rail in place. This is coming out of the van to take it out. I don't have an issue with that. I don't think that's going to be a problem for me because I don't expect to be doing anything down there. The other problem is if you do it from the top, now you have that big kind of unsightly hole with the socket head bolt in it and stuff. That just doesn't look the best. You sure wouldn't want to do it on a face or anything that showed. That's some of the pros and cons to these different things. Like I showed you with the subwoofer, I can't put corner pieces in if I'm going to slide a square grill in. And again, to make the grill so that the corners were at 45-degree angles to get past the brackets, it's not that you can't do it. It just makes it a whole bunch tougher. And for what? Well, what's it going to do for you? So that's a little bit about the corner attachments. The other thing I wanted to show you is I did order and I shouldn't talk facing away from the camera. I did order these, which are meant to attach two pieces together. The problem with these is to use it, it has to be on like this. Well, the problem with having it on the face, having it up in this upper corner, is, for one thing, you've got this sticking out, which is not a nice clean look that the frame gives you. And you're cutting off your access. So if you put it on here, if you went to put something in underneath here and it was hitting on here, that's another little bit of an issue. But these are 1/4 inch thick. They're strong as hell. This is going to make for a really, really good corner. And really, really strong. My plan here is to use these on the back side up in the subwoofer and refrigerator area. So on the back, nobody's ever going to see it. I don't care. And if I do opposite corners to my uprights with these, that frame is going to be super strong. There's no way it's moving or flexing or anything. So these will come in handy for that. Would I be tempted to try and make these myself? Maybe. I think I might be. The other thing that I thought of when I started playing with these, looking at them, is all you'd need to do is buy, let's say, 1.5 inch strap, 1/4 inch thick, cut it with a 45 on either end, and put a strap across there, which would triangulate the corner and give you really good strength as well. It'd just be an easy way of doing something similar to this, with a gap down here. It won't be as strong as this, but still be pretty good. So that would be a good way of bracing corners. But again, I'd only use it like on the backside where nobody's going to see it. That's how I'm going to get started down at that end. What I need to do now is take some pictures so that I can mark it up on my notebook, and decide which corners I'm going to use which fasteners in and how I'm going to make it strong. And yeah, you can go through a lot of corner pieces putting something like this together, and every brace means at least 2 more corner pieces. I will tell you that this whole assembly, I have a few cut-offs. I think I have one 7 inches long, a couple, 2 or 3 inches long. So I made really, really good use of the material, and worked out well. This used exactly 8 lengths of Series 15. So 8 lengths, in Canada here, $106 a length. So 848 $848 just in the extrusions. Then you throw in corner brackets at a couple bucks a piece. Wow, you're 900 plus easily, I think. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. That's not a negative. That is not bad. For what I have here, compared to building something out of 2x4s or 2x2s and, trying to make, the fancy wood joints and all the rest of it, and wood is susceptible to moisture and temperature and all those other things. This just, for me, this makes total sense. This works out really, really well. So I'm looking forward to getting this apart. Figure out what kind of corners I'm going to use and what I need for end caps and stuff like that. And we'll get this one done. The other thing I wanted to mention to you is this is an 8-foot length, this bottom rail, but it didn't get me all the way down the bed of the truck. The bed of the truck is actually just about 10 feet long. So I needed, what was it? I think the one at the end, I needed 21.5 inches. So I was able to cut a piece 21.5 inches, and then I tapped this center hole on both pieces, on this rail and the extension piece. Screwed them together. I cut the head off a bolt. Now I had a threaded stud. Screwed them together. When they came together, just, found a spot to line them up. And then my support sits on this piece, but my corner bracket goes onto the extension. So you got a corner bracket tying it together. You got a threaded stud between the 2 pieces. They're tight together. Worked out great. So really, really easy to extend this stuff. And I think that's pretty cool. If a guy was so inclined, you could even use up some of your scraps and stuff to make longer pieces that you might need. But as it is, I'm really happy with it. Oh, and I was going to tell you, at the back here, I've got 2 pieces. I'm going to go, hopefully you can see this. I'm going to go across, and then I'm going to go up to the front. And I'm not putting anything down here. I'm not putting any support down in the bottom there. And the reason is, I want full access here for putting stuff in. My thought is, this piece, by the time you put plywood on top of here and bolt it down, you're never going to have that much of a load right on this corner that's going to cause you a problem. When you think about it, what's going to be down at this corner? Your feet probably. I think I'm going to sleep with my head in the middle of the van. So your feet are down there. How much pressure is that putting on this corner out here? And this rail is supported to the floor, so I don't think there's any issue there at all. That's how my first cabinet with 80/20 worked out. and I'm a happy guy. I think it worked out great. Okay, I'm going to get material ordered for the other side, and I will update you again once I get going here. Dad, thanks. One thing I wanted to show you, I'm working on the section of the cabinets right now that encloses the subwoofer and the amps and the refrigerator, and probably I've still got enough room in there for a deep cycle battery and a DC charger. So we'll work that out later. But I've got these two sections, if you will. You've probably seen them in previous video there. The one for, actually for both, I wanted to put a subfloor in. Want to reduce noise, you know, the metal floor, you get rocks hitting it and stuff. Just a lot of noise there, so I figured subfloors would be really nice in there to keep the noise down. It also gives me something to fasten the subwoofer box to, so that it's not going to go anywhere or move around without having to drill more holes in the van. And what I did with the 80/20, essentially the bottom rails that will be bolted down to the floor of the van, the bottom rails and the cross pieces, I guess is the best term for them, form a square. And typically inside that square, you're not going to have any corner brackets or anything, because that's not really where the strength is for tying them together. So you wind up with that square being open, and with the 80/20, that means you're going to have this channel running all the way around the bottom. What we've done is we've taken, and here I got another one here I can show you. We've taken 3/4 inch plywood. 3/4 inch ply is what I'm using for the bed anyway. So we used 3/4 inch plywood, and we cut it to size, then routered down the edge so that it fits in the 80/20 groove. And it's not tight. You don't have to pound it in or anything, but it's tight enough that you shouldn't get a whole bunch of movement in there. And if you do, just a little bit of material or something wedged in there, maybe thin rubber, would take away any kind of shake. But I don't think it's going to be an issue when you have the weight of the fridge or the weight of the subwoofer and the amps on there. So that's how we've made this. And of course, all you need to do is take off an end piece, a cross support, and then you've got three sides of your square, your floor. Slide this piece in into both sides, back to the back, then reinstall your cross piece. And now this is captive. It's in that frame, and it's not going anywhere. Two different situations I have for the fridge compartment. What I did was I put this black automotive carpet on the top here, and I just trimmed it right at this edge. Okay, so that goes up. When this slides in, this is up. It's just about level with the top edge of the 80/20. When it's in, yeah, close. Certainly with the carpet on there, it fills it up. And that's probably the easiest way to do it, as long as your measurements are good and your cuts are good, your routering is good. You're not going to have much that you can see past the carpet. You could wrap the carpet around the edge if you really wanted to get fussy with it. What I've done on mine is I just ran some black Sharpie down the edges so that when, if anybody looks in there, they see the black carpet, and then this edge is black and it looks just fine. The other way to install this, though, is to go this way, which, when this is installed, means that this whole edge, top edge, is exposed. You can see this. Now, it's not a visual thing that I did this piece that way. The reason I did this in the subwoofer area is the subwoofer with the amp mounted on top of it is right up at the maximum cabinet height. And what I wanted to do there was I wanted to make sure that the amp had enough room, that the fan, the cooling fan, had enough room to move air. So to keep it within the cabinet, I wanted this extra 3/8 of an inch. I wanted to keep that. So on this piece, rather than carpeting this, I don't know, this top piece, I masked off the edge that's going to go within the 80/20 and glued my carpet on. Then using a straight edge, I cut off to the edge of the masking tape all the way around. And that's going to give me, this will slide in nicely into the 80/20, but I've got carpet right up to the edge. Everything works out. I will admit, I thought I was going to be okay. I glued a piece on a previous piece, went right to the edge. We tried to put that in. Just that much extra thickness was too much, and we wound up tearing the carpet trying to get it in and out. And that's when I decided, you know what, it's easier to just mask the edge, cut it off, and then you don't have to worry about any of that. So that's what I'm doing with this, and I'm going to show you when it's installed in the van what it looks like. What I'm going to do right now, this one's finished. I've drilled the holes for my power and ground for the amps. So the power and ground come up through the floor of the van, through here, and in. All the other wires for speakers and everything are just going to go out the back of this boxed area. So I don't have to go through the floor with them. So this piece is done and ready to go in. While I have everything out, I am going to do this one for the floor and the small cabinet on the passenger side. What I'm using, like I said, I just bought it's really a cheap automotive. They call it carpet. I think it's more of an underpad or something. But it's nice. It's black, and it looks okay. It certainly wouldn't wear very well, but there's no wear where these are going. Once the fridge is in, once the subwoofer is in, you're not moving it in and out. It's staying put. And the same for this cabinet. So this is what I'm using. It just, trims it up, finishes it off. It's inexpensive, and it'll work just fine. Give you some sound deadening as well. For all of my upholstery stuff, I am using 3M Foam Fast 74. 3M has a bunch of different adhesives that will work for upholstery. There's, what is it? There's 60 and 74 and 90, and they seem to get more aggressive as the number gets larger. I looked at all of them. 74 for the foam seemed to be the best bet for gluing foam to wood and to hardboard and stuff like that. So I have a source for this. Uline carries this in Canada. There are several other outlets. I think Granger carries it. There's a few outlets. Stuff isn't cheap. It's industrial, but it seems to work pretty good. The adhesives that I've seen on YouTube that a lot of guys in the States are using, I checked it out. I could not find a Canadian source for them. And bringing this kind of stuff in from the US is not a good option these days. Anyway, I've got an account with Uline for buying my 80/20 and stuff. I thought, what the heck, they have this. I might as well just get it from them. And so far, works great. The panels on the back doors, these pieces, this has worked just fine. Is it a little bit of overkill? maybe. Could you go more aggressive if you wanted to? Yeah, you could go to the 90, and I'm sure that stuff would bond real well. But I haven't had any issues with this. Nothing coming loose. No challenges with it really. So I'm happy with it. I think I'll probably stick with this for doing the rest of the interior. That's it for now. I'm going to get this piece ready. I will show you how that floor worked out, and I'll show you as well. I found some really cool lighting to use with the 80/20. So we've got some mood lighting in the boogie van. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'll show that to you as well. All right, see you in a bit. Little update on the 80/20 aluminum extrusion. So I know I said at one point here in a video that I don't know if it was worth it to take time to make brackets and stuff. Yes, they're expensive from 80/20 or whatever your source is, but the 80/20 ones are expensive, but they're really well made, and your time is worth something, plus material and everything. But I did try something, and it worked out fairly well. So these corner brackets, and I would just, I'm just going to say here, I haven't found, or I haven't come up with a place that I would use these on the face of a cabinet or anything, but on the back of the cabinets in the van, where these aren't going to be seen, I thought, well, they'd probably provide a lot of strength, and they do. These things, you've got an upright and a horizontal, and this, it just acts like a gusset. It is a gusset, I guess, but with 3 bolts, really good at providing strength. So these definitely work. The 80/20 one, nicely sized, nice finished edges. It's anodized, very well done. Nice piece. My problem is, I think I pay $26 a piece for these, unless I order 20 or 2 dozen or something like that. I don't know, pretty pricey. If you were doing some production work, yeah, for sure, be worth it. I thought, you know what, for in the van, a one-off, I think I can do better than that. So what I did is I went to Metal Supermarket and I picked up 1/4-inch aluminum, same thickness. I don't know what they would call it. I guess it's an aluminum flat bar, 4 inches wide. Now, these are 4.5 by 4.5. 4.5 they don't have. They can cut it out of a sheet of quarter for me, which would be an option. But what they had in flat bar was 4-inch. So I took some 4-inch flat bar, traced out the pattern. Hopefully you can see this. And all that happens is you wind up with one hole that's pretty close to the edge, but there's no strength issue here. It's really not a big deal. The other problem, if you want to call it a problem, the other challenge is this fits in my Evolution saw to cut this way, to cut across. There's no way to get this material into the Evolution saw to cut the 45 here. Cut it by hand. It is what it is. I ground it down to give it a bit of a finish there. Is it perfect? No, it's not. Is it strong? Yes, it is. They work just fine. So I've made up a few of these. My cost without my time is under $5 a piece. So quite a savings on these. Is it anodized like the 80/20 one? No, it's not. Are the holes as good as the 80/20? No, they're not. But it bolts in, lines up with the edge of the extrusion, looks just fine. They're on the back of the cabinet anyway. Who cares? So they do work really well. The 1/4 inch works well. No issue. So I did wind up trying to make some of these. What I would do in the future, I'm going to try it, is I think for a lot of things, this is a bit of overkill. If I got 3-inch flat bar and made, so essentially, let's see if I can show you. If you use that as a straight edge across there, this is what I can make. So you only get 3 bolts instead of the 5, but with 3-inch material, I'll be able to do the 45 on my Evolution and do the straight cut. I believe from what I've seen that having 3 holes, 3 fasteners, going to be plenty strong. You're still going to get that gusset. It's going to be a little bit smaller in the corner. I think it's going to work out pretty well for a lot of applications. So making those, I might crank out some of those just to have on hand here for other projects. But this, like I say, this definitely works. This is a 80-20. This is a nice piece. No question. This is a decent fixture. Just in Canada, from my source, and I checked it with other sources, but in Canada, I don't know if it's tariffs affecting it. I don't know what drives the pricing, but as I say, 25 buckish range, that's pretty rich for me. The other thing I found, we had talked a little bit about corner brackets. Corner brackets, this is the 80-20 one. Notice the radius in the corner. So this material that 80-20 uses, and they round this edge off nicely too. This material that they use is considered a structural material. If it's square cut in this corner, that's considered architectural or really cosmetics. There is not nearly as much strength in a square cut corner as there is with this radius material. 1/4 inch thick, good solid material. 80-20 piece is really nice. These are running me for between $4 and $5 a piece, I believe. Again, you know, nice piece and everything. Just a little bit pricey, I think. So to make some corners for myself, and more than corners, there's places where I might want to mount something. I want to use some quick latch connectors on some of the panels. So to do something, maybe come up with a hinge or something like that. I wanted to see if I could duplicate that material. So Metal Supermarket, there you go, right there. 1/4 inch thick, radiused inside corner, nice and strong. Doesn't have the nice rounded edge here. I could do that on the grinder if I wanted to. I don't know that I'm going to worry about it that much unless it's showing on the face of something. But with this, I can make corners for joining pieces, but I can also just make tabs that maybe I drill and tap a hole and a bolt threads into it, or like I say, for quick latches, the stud, the ball stud mount would come off of here, do all kinds of different things. But this just gives me a little more versatility. You know, by the time I buy this material, cut it, drill it, do all that, this is $4, $4.50, whatever it is. I don't know. If I needed a couple, definitely not worth my time. If I can crank out 20, you know, in an hour or something, have them in the parts bin, probably more cost effective. But I just wanted to show you that this material is available. Same radius, nice and strong. Everything works real good. Thought I'd show you that because I know I said I wouldn't spend the time to make them, but I was lying to you. I will spend the time to make some of them. Okay, we're back at it. Talk to you soon.